Kris Herman has been an instrumental figure in collegiate softball since beginning her coaching career in 1988. During her illustrious 33-year career, Herman's squads have collected 767 victories and 11 New England Small College Athletic Conference titles. In 2018, she became the 17th coach at the NCAA Division III level to surpass 700 wins, and is currently 12th on the active victories list. Herman has guided Williams College to 428 victories, 6 league titles, 4 NCAA Division III National Championship appearances, 4 NESCAC West Division titles, 6 NESCAC championships, and 8 trips to the NCAA Division III National Tournament. Prior to Williams, Herman steered her alma mater, Tufts University, to 339 victories, 5 NESCAC titles, 7 consecutive NCAA tournaments, and the Jumbo's first ever NCAA Division III National Championship appearance. At this time, please enjoy this video highlighting the career of Kris Herman.
Here, look at them. Love it. Welcome to Cole Field. Welcome to Williams Softball. How long has that been since we've been thinking about this? The Sharpie's out here in circulation, right here. There's new water bottles right here. You go ahead and grab one. The water's on the bleachers. You guys are going to be able to jump right in. You already have done your job. My name is Kris Herman. I'm the head softball coach at Williams College, and I'm a 2020 inductee into the National Fastpitch Coaches Association Hall of Fame. I've been doing a decent amount of yoga myself, but since the cameras are here, I won't get to try my crow pose. Yeah, when you're done, go ahead, grab a drink, take a second. I'll meet you back on the field. We're going to do defense first, some ball drills. All you need is a glove. I moved actually going into 9th grade. In this town, if you were a girl, you played field hockey in the fall, and then spring came around and girls played softball, like full stop. So that's when I started playing softball. I arrived at Tufts in the fall of 1982. My junior year was the first year of full-fledged varsity softball. I think we played a total of 14 games or something. I didn't really know what I was going to do. There was an opportunity to be an assistant coach. So I was like, at the very least, I'll do this and see what happens. 1988, we won the NIAC 12-10. I have the game ball, I think, in my office. That was the very first year. It was amazing.
I am Jen O'Malley Dillon, and I'm the Deputy Chief of Staff to President Biden. I graduated in 98, and so I started playing for her in 94. When I went to Tufts, I was the third baseman. And after my freshman year, I became a first baseman. She taught me how to play a new position. And not only that, I used her glove. She's not afraid to try new things, to push the envelope, but she always comes back to home base, which is her team and her players. And I think that's the secret to not just her success as a coach, but as a person.
It was hard for me to leave. Coaching is really personal, and I was close to those kids. I still am close to many of them. So I came here in July of 2003. We won the NESCAC championship in 2004 here on our home field, which was great, and also 2005, 2006, and ended up in the World Series. Our teams are noted for last-minute comebacks or late-inning comebacks, and frankly, I think it's because nobody wants it to end. Nobody wants a game to end, nobody wants a season to end. Sometime in the 2010, 2011, 2012 range is when really everything started to change for me. We looked at the winning and losing, and there was a lot more losing than we wanted to. We still had a successful program in the grand scheme of things, but not really. Somebody literally walked into my office and said, "How are you doing?" And I'm like, "We're good, we're working really hard, the kids are invested." It was another coach said to me, like, "No, you're not." And I was like, "You're right." They were right, and we were not good. That process of really, for the first time, not being good in terms of wins and losses propelled me to a little bit of a wake-up call. All professional sports have coaches, and there we were having coaches supposedly at the top of these pyramids, or at the top of these pyramids, on an island. As I started working with people outside, or just talking to coaches generally, it became very clear to me that the concerns that I had and the problems that I had and the struggles that I had were universal. Coaching is hard, but it's not like so hard that it's not amazing and not worth trying to figure out how to improve the way you do things, to make it easier.
I'm Megan Gillis. I'm the head coach of women's hockey. I had the good fortune of being right across the hallway from her, so that was really fortunate for me. Kris Herman 2.0 was, how can I make this more structured, more organized? I was sort of her guinea pig as well along the way.
When I do presentations, I talk about the systems I built, and I show literally a PowerPoint slide that's like 2010 to 2012 winning percentage of like 512, 2015 to 2019 winning percentage of like 900.
I think most coaches, if they come across ideas like that, they're gonna keep them to themselves. For her, as soon as it happened, she was willing to share and evolve and give, and that's amazing.
In 2010, we had just really seen the power of team on children, and especially children who had been impacted by medical challenges. So we got to work building the business and the framework behind Team Impact. We match kids with medical challenges of all sorts with college sports teams. They get a jersey, they get an actual or proverbial locker, they get to be on the sidelines.
Thank you, Gavin, for being part of the team.
We give them all the sense of belonging that comes with being on a team, right? The confidence and the support that you get from having teammates that many of these children would not have the opportunity to have.
You can't quantify or characterize our ability to just find colleges and cultivate their interest solely because of Kris Herman. She literally, tirelessly, fearlessly was knocking down doors because she had so much passion for the mission.
She's so humble about creating team impact, and she plays it off like no big deal, like she does with so many of the great things that she does. It's changed lives of thousands of people for the better, and she still doesn't want any credit for it.
If not for Kris Herman, Team Impact would not be near the very national, 49 states, 750 campus, several thousand matches affecting the lives of tens of thousands of athletes.
You know I'm here with my boy Ben. I come on the road with us, help us get this win.
Team Impact really fires me up. And I've seen how it's impacted me as a coach and how I've been able to pass that along to other coaches. And just as importantly, the impact that the relationships have had on people.
Having someone who's my mentor, who's teaching me about, selflessness and teaching me about how it's so much bigger than ourselves, bigger than even the team. I've just grown so much as a person, and obviously as a coach as well, just being around someone like her for the last 10 years.
There's nobody that deserves to be in the Hall of Fame for coaches more than Coach. There are hundreds, maybe thousands of women like me all across this country that she has had an impact on, and she has just left a mark that will always be there.
What else is there? Where do you go?
Good question. The challenge for, I think, me and for many of us is, how do we always want more or to be better, to sharpen the edges while simultaneously being satisfied where we are? Coaching softball here will end, jobs end, but I think the excitement of coaching, whether it's coaching at Coalfield at Williams College or coaching other people, I don't see that ending.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium 2020 NFCA Hall of Fame inductee, Kris Herman.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I think we're having the party at Donna's house next year. We're all in San Antonio. Sounds like you're well equipped, ready to go. All right, can't wait. Well, when I was starting the process of, when you get inducted into the Hall of Fame, you have to provide a video. And I wanted to do something a little different, so I enlisted the help of a woman who's actually a senior at Williams, who I think is an incredible professional. The production of that piece itself is pretty amazing for me, in addition to making me cry. But I was meeting with her the very first time before we had the cameras out or anything, and just talking about all of the things that I do, those things and some more. And after a short time, maybe 45 minutes, possibly an hour, she said, "Okay, we're good. I got it. I have a vision of what I'm going to do." And I was like, "You do?" Because I have no idea. So I'm just really jealous of that kind of mind that can do that, and I'm really impressed. She's a real pro. And she also said something that made a lot more sense to me, something that I believe and I know to be true. She said, "Wow, maybe she didn't even say wow, but she said, there's a lot more to being a coach than coaching." And I was like, yes, there is. Yes, there is a lot more. So these guys will laugh at anything. That's amazing. I'm going to have them around more often. Thanks, guys. I told them to behave. I'm sorry. But so a lot more to being a coach than coaching, and I like to call that being a coach with a capital C. I believe that's a proper noun. So I want to say first, thank you, as I begin to talk about coach with a capital C. Thank you to the NFCA, Carol, Pat, and Larissa. What's your job? Karen, as past president. And I want to say something real quick because you're laughing. Earlier, I was rehearsing with our assistant coach, Mackenzie Keys, and she says, maybe you just add like one more funny story in there. And then I said, well, that's not really how and I didn't even finish the sentence. She's like, yeah, you're right. I was like, wow. So anyway, thanks and congrats to Heinz and Donna and Mary and Leslie. It's unbelievable, amazing to be up here. And I want to say to Heinz and Donna, I think we are indeed the COVID fifth years of the Hall of Fame. So there's really so many people to thank. I could spend the whole, what do we have, like 25 minutes to talk? Something like that. So many people to thank. That was a joke. So a lot of players. There's a whole bunch of players out there, Williams players, a few others, and some people who played at Tufts who are now coaching as well. And they represent generations of players, I think, as we all know. Generations of players who played on capital T teams. And that really means a lot. And I know they know that they stand on the shoulders of others and that there's people home in Williamstown who are following them, and that just means so, so much. And I also know that they're definitely using me as an excuse to hang out together in Las Vegas. But they help me to remind the players, who obviously, as Donna said, are so important to team success, but they help me to remind me to lead with caring and curiosity. So the game is about players, but really tonight we're here and all week to talk about coaches. And I really appreciate so many of the coaches who are here, and the convention is one of my favorite weeks of the year. This Friday night in December has always been one of my favorite nights of the year, because this is a team. This is one of my teams. I'm on a whole lot of teams. I'm really lucky for that. So to all the coaches, I say thank you, and most especially to the D3 crew. There's retired coaches, Hall of Famers in D3, and many others. Thank you. There they are. There's a lot of us, so it means a lot. And also, especially to the NESCAC coaches, a number of whom are here. And the NESCAC, we have 10 teams in our conference. It's an amazing group of people. I really like to be around. I don't know how many conferences across the country have a full 100% participation text group chat for the head coaches, but we have one. We use it. We use it to entertain as well as inform, and it really makes us a team, because doesn't every team have a group text chat? I think they do. So thanks to all of you guys. I really appreciate it, being a part of your team. Another group that's a team and is really special, I think any coach knows how important, and Donna mentioned it, how important just the coaching staff of any individual season really is. A whole lot of assistant coaches that I've worked with, and from Debbie Siegel, who was the first assistant at Tufts. We were both 23 years old. It was the third season of women's softball at Tufts ever. So thanks to her, and to Cheryl, who was a player, and then an assistant at Tufts for a long time, now has a great coaching career, greater than mine on paper. to Sue Planky, who was the pitching coach at Williams when I got there and then stayed for 5 or 6 seasons and really helped in so many ways. Jen Nessio and Joey Lai and Caitlin Kane and Tricia Picchio and Teresa Legan and Erica Lee and Jessica Kim and Rachel Hansen and Lauren Epstein, who were never really on the staff but certainly were honorary members, and to Mackenzie Keys, who's our current assistant. I thank you so much for allowing me to be your teammate and learn so much from you guys. It really makes a difference. The last team I want to say a quick thank you to is one of my favorite coaches, a great coach, a really great coach I learned so much from, and now is a teammate and a coach at times at home, my wife and partner, Fran Vandermeer. So a capital C coach is not just a boss, not just a title. As all the coaches in the room know, coaching with a capital C is a way of life. It's how we make people feel and how we feel ourselves. It's about, as I said earlier, caring and curiosity. So I really believe, embedded in that curiosity, I really believe in the power of questions. Really well-placed question can make all the difference. And that doesn't mean you have to spend a lot of time thinking about it. But I want to tell you about 3 questions that I've been asked that really made a difference. One, actually, I talked about in the video quite a bit. My teammate at Williams, a football coach and a colleague, came down the hall and said, "How are you doing?" And I started to answer with a pretty crappy answer. And what I realized mid-answer was that I didn't know how we were doing. On paper, we weren't doing very well in the middle of like kind of an average season and a string of average seasons, as I said. But more importantly, not only did I not know how we were going to get better, I didn't even really know what the problem was, and I didn't know how I was going to know. And that really bothered me. So lucky for me, right around that same time is when I started to spend a lot of time with Dan Walsh, who you also saw in the video and is here. Dan, thank you so much for being here. And Dan and I were building Team Impact literally on the phone every single morning, 8:15, Monday through Friday. Building this organization that was a nonprofit. We were building it as a model, with a model of all the businesses that Dan had worked with. We had systems and frameworks and dashboards, and I will tell you, we had some frameworks and dashboards going hard, a lot of color coding. But we had a plan. We knew, and all credit to Dan. But the question that he asked me as we were talking, and I was getting excited, day after day, probably a few weeks into this at least, where I was like, this is really cool. This is going to work. And his question to me was, and I can hear him through the phone, kind of like the golden retriever, like, what's going on, right? He's like, you don't do this stuff? Pretty simple question. I don't think he actually thought it through a lot, but that was the tone. You don't do these things? You don't have these systems? You are indeed the CEO of your program. I was really curious to him as to why we didn't do that. So he became really my first coach. And as we were building Team Impact to now matching 2,300 plus kids all around the country, just pretty amazing. He then also really helped me in so many ways to turn our softball program at Williams from being good to being really good. So as we're there, I want to also give a quick shout out to Maggie Schrade, who is our Team Impact teammate. She was waiting for it. Maggie was matched with our team at Williams when she was 6 years old. She's now 15. I had to ask her. When she was 6, she was 6 going on 16, and now she's 15 going on 16, so that's pretty good. She's here with her parents and her grandparents, and I guarantee you that crew is using me as an excuse to hang out in Vegas. Those guys know how to travel. So Maggie, thank you so much for being a part of our team and a part of our program. She was with the team for 5 years officially on the roster. I don't know what happened that 5th year. I don't know. You're not allowed to go 5 years at Williams. So, but added so much, and now is a very loyal alumna. And I really appreciate all you've done to our program, and Team Impact has meant so much to all of us here from Williams. And at Tufts, they also have a number of children matched. So I said Dan was really my first coach. I also want to say a thank you to Casey Carter, who just showed up here right as I sat down, which is kind of annoying. is actually a wonderful guy and really officially my coach. Because I realized also that I really needed somebody, Dan filled this role, others have too, to help me see what I cannot see. That's what I do for players. Work hard, that's what all coaches do for players, to help them to see what they cannot see, to answer the questions, ask first and then answer the questions that will help make them a better player. So I decided I needed a coach. I mean, I really do need a coach, and so do you probably. But Casey really filled that role. And also introduced me to the power of meditation, which has become a huge part of my life, so I appreciate it. Thank you, Casey. The third question I want to tell you about is also a very simple one, and it will allow me to say thank you and introduce my mom, Sheila Herman, who's right down here, and my brother and my cousins and some of my college friends. But it was 1974, it was springtime, and it was time to play baseball. I was 9 years old. I know Coach Keys is down there being like, that was 20 years before I was born. But we were going to play baseball, and we went to sign up. As I said, I was 9, so I was in the littler, younger division. And we went to the table to sign up, and no girls allowed to play. And I know you all know your history. This was indeed after Title IX was passed, but in this town, they were not yet allowing girls, while others across the country were really fighting this fight. And the question that my mom asked that was really powerful was something like, what the heck? Why not? Probably something like that. It might have been a little bit more colorful, I'm not sure. But she turned that reaction into action right away. I think perhaps she might have surprised herself even, but turned it into action, went petitioning all around town and testifying at the school board and the city council. This seemed like a really dumb rule. And within weeks, Janice Daniels, who was 11, and she was the really good player in town, the Schrade sisters and I were all playing baseball. So, Mom, thank you so much. So that's a lot of teammates. It's a lot of teammates that I named by name and many more that I did not. I want to continue to say thank you to all of you. I want to wrap up by sharing a few thoughts for us as we look forward, a few thoughts on this idea of being a coach with a capital C. And many of you know that I like to use this most simple tool. We call it a T-chart. And like many coaches, or like all of us in all walks of life, we work hard to identify where we're going, what the destination is, what the goal is, and how we're going to get there, and what it's going to look like if we succeed. I also am really inspired consistently to identify what it won't look like. What are the negatives? What are the things we might want to avoid? And this helps me to see what I cannot see and help others to see what I cannot see. So it's poor grammar, but we can just call that what it doesn't look like. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what a coach with a capital C doesn't look like. 3 things. The first one is a coach with a capital C doesn't lead with their ego. They're not fixated on results. When we do that, it puts ourselves in the future, and it's really hard to be where your feet are when you're in the future. When the scoreboard's turned on, absolutely, we should be playing to win. We should be trying to have a larger number on our side than on the other side. I believe that for sure, and having goals that involve winning is fine. But when day to day we're fixated on the winning, not just because that doesn't have to be something that comes from the inside, but something that comes from the outside. Right, so maybe it's bad stubborn, as Sue said the other day. Okay, or maybe it's just the pressures from outside. But a coach with a capital C is able to get past that and lead, again, with caring and curiosity. The second thing that I will say a coach with a capital C is not is stressed. When I say stressed, that's 6, 8 letters, and usually they're all capitalized, sometimes like a crazy font, too, right? Stressed. So a coach with a capital C, when we're stressed, we know brain science tells us it's really hard to be external, to see how others are doing when you're super stressed, right? It forces us to go inside, which again makes us unable to really help those around us. Perhaps we're worried about our job or what somebody's saying about us or how a player is taking that news that she's not going to start tomorrow. or who's evaluating us, and how and why. That will cause stress. That doesn't look like for a capital C coach who's stressed is the one who goes home, tags up, says hi to their partner, to their kids, maybe pets the dog, then finds a way to get back to the computer, to the emails. I have to. I got to do all this stuff right now. Super stressful. So that's the second thing that a coach with a capital C does not look like. The third thing I think is most important. A coach with a capital C is not alone. A coach with a capital C is not alone. Coach with a capital C knows they don't have to have all the answers. They don't have to know all of the things all of the time. They're allowed to ask for help. A coach with a capital C does not have somebody who's there to ask them the good questions. Again, to help them to see what they cannot see. So in closing, I see a future in which every one of us, every coach has a coach. Someone to ask the good questions, to support them, to lift them up, to help them through those stressful times, and to help them to see what they cannot see. And when we get there, that's where I'll be. And so as my dad would say, we're all, but especially I, am so damn lucky. Thank you so much.